Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to our regular board meeting for October 1st, 2020. Mr. Tench, could you please read if you have it open?
You sure you want me to do this? All right. Visitors are always welcome at our board meetings. Due to the passage of House Bill 197 and the response to the COVID-19 public health crisis, the Board of Education meeting will be available using Google Meet as well as a public meeting. You may join in by internet live stream http://board.bedfordschools.org or Spectrum Cable TV channel 1025. If you wish to speak during the audience participation portion of the agenda, please complete the audience participation card online at http://participate.bedfordschools.org. Oral presentations are limited to 3 minutes each.
Thank you, Mr. Tench.
You're welcome.
Would you please call the roll, Mr. Parkinson?
Mrs. Boynton? Mr. Kennedy?
Here.
Mrs. Patterson?
Present.
Mr. Stevens?
Here.
Mr. Tench?
Here.
Could you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you. Before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge all of our board members and cabinet and thanking everyone for supporting the cause and the movement of social justice, and to acknowledge that, as you can see, we all have our shirts on that says Bedford School Social Justice, and that and it also says that together we can make a difference. So I truly believe that, and it starts here. And I'm just so happy to see that we're all here together and supporting the movement that we're all trying to get accomplished and get out to everyone, and to support Dr. Selico as she moves forward as well. Thank you very much. Okay, moving right along. Do we have any awards and presentations, Dr. Selico?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Stevens. Good evening, board. Good evening, visitors, and those of you who are listening. This evening, we have the largest group you're ever going to have seen, at least in my tenure here, for our graduates. And Mr. Thompson is here to award them. I believe there are 32. At least that was the last count I saw. And I believe we were supposed to have maybe 1 or 2 here this evening. Is someone here this evening here to get a diploma? Okay, and she's here or not here? Not here yet? Okay. So we will be glad if she comes during the time of this meeting to honor her. Is it L'Oreal? Okay, great. That's who we thought was coming this evening. So we can pause and later, if it's okay with the board president, to do that if she's late. Board, I ask that you consider these graduates. They have, as the large number is due in part to the House bill that was passed that forgave, if you will, the testing requirements. So in order for that to happen, anybody could actually take advantage of that. So we have graduates going back many years that were able to, because they had the credits, they just didn't pass the test. So as a result, they were able to get their diploma, and this is really in due in part to COVID as well. So we're happy that they're having that opportunity. So Mr. Thompson, if you don't mind.
Of study prescribed by the Board of Education for Bedford High School, classed as first grade and accredited, and is therefore awarded this diploma given from Bedford High School, Bedford, Ohio, on this first day of October. And now the class of 2020, L'Oreal Lanier Watts.
Leave it there, and then if she comes. Okay, Mr. Stevens. I can keep going?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you. And our second item is a brief presentation. This is as customary. I think you're used to this presentation from Mrs. Willis regarding the graded courses of studies, and she'll provide for you an overview as well as the reasons for those changes. And you do have a link to all of those.
Good evening, members of the board, members of cabinet. Thank you very much for giving me minutes this evening to share with you the backstory behind the hundreds of pages of curriculum documents that you received on Friday and that are linked in the agenda. I'm really here tonight to represent, I did count 41 staff members who have done this work. You have 20 graded courses of study in your holdings. I want to remind you that this is, not work that we take lightly. This is work that takes, in many cases, an entire year to complete. I have teachers right now who are working on graded courses of study that you will see next year. And so this work begins in committee. There's PD, there's some research that is done. And of course, we always look at the data to make sure that the documents we are creating for you are really presenting to you the curriculum frameworks that will best educate our students. And so again, I never take credit for this work. And if I had a slide, I would show you those 40 names, but you see them on the front of the documents. And these are the true experts who have produced this work for you. So you have math, social studies, science, world language, and career tech in your holdings. I'm just reminding you, and I've said this now for a couple of years, so I guess it's not a new template anymore, but it is relatively new for those of you who've been on the board for a long time. And there are some components that you'll see there on every graded course of study that you receive. We have the unpacked learning targets there, so you'll see the state standards, you'll see some content elaboration, and then the learning targets are unpacked, or the standards are unpacked for you into I-CAN statements, which are those learning targets that we share with students, so they understand exactly what they're to be learning during specific units of study. If courses are accompanied by honors level courses, then you will see some differentiation for honors courses. That could be in pacing, it could be in assessments, or it could be an increased rigor of the learning targets. So you'll note that in some of these. You also know that we've had a huge initiative the past about year where we've done a lot of work around tier 2 and tier 3 vocabulary. And so this template also illustrates for you the tier 2 words that specific departments and courses have agreed to teach, follow evidence-based practices, and pace them throughout the year. So you'll note that the vocabulary you can find for each matching unit. I also always encourage teachers to show some cross-disciplinary alignment. As we all know, that's the way that students transfer their knowledge from short-term to long-term. We help them make connections and help them see the relevance. And so we try to link every unit we're working on to other courses and other areas of study so that students see that relevance. Most often, those things are linked to English language arts at the high school level. You'll also see them linked to the college readiness benchmarks. And then finally, you'll note that the pacing is embedded in each unit. And then also in the appendix, many of these graded courses of study also have taken that embedded pacing and created for you a separate pacing guide. So you can look for that in the appendix. And many of them have other components that they just choose to add. These are some of the things that are requirements from our department. Speaking to the quantity, because you have 20, but it seems like every year we have about that many. We have somewhere between 15 and 20, but just to remind you, many of them, most of them actually this year are coming to you because they made some changes in their pacing, they made changes in their scope and sequence, they decided to flip units and put them at different times of the year, and they also did additional deconstruction of those learning targets. So you'll see that reflected in many of those graded courses of study. In the social studies, all of the social studies graded courses of study went through an alignment to the new materials. You all approved the textbooks, I think it was in May, right? So you'll see in those graded courses of study that they've aligned the curriculum to those new resources. We have an AP course. We got new standards for the AP computer science, and so this document reflects alignment to College Board's new standards. And then finally, there are 2 new courses there. So anytime we create a new course, of course, it comes along with the curriculum framework. So you see American Sign Language, and you see a senior year only auto tech credentialing course. That's to help students who are trying to graduate so they can earn a credential in just a single year instead of needing to take 6 class periods of auto tech. And so you see the graded course of study for that single period course. So that's what you have in your packet. Happy reading to all of you. You know that we'll be voting in about a month at the next business meeting, so in November. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, you know where you can find me, and I'd be happy to entertain any questions you have right now.
Police, did you notice any difference this year with the with the situation we're faced with the virtual compared to the in-classroom as far as what was available? Was there any changes made from the publishers or?
Oh, not by publishers. No,
No.
not by publishers, right? Because it's actually very costly for them to produce materials. And so we're all hoping that this is just an emergency year. But what we did, we went through all of the grades, K to 12, all content areas, went through their pacing and their graded courses of study in May. We were lucky enough to be able to find a couple of days at the end of May where they were working on paperwork, report cards. And so we pulled teachers and we did a gap analysis. So we looked at what we hadn't covered last year that we usually cover and we usually say that our students have mastered by the end of the year. And because we were in the situation that we were in the spring, we knew that we were passing them on with some gaps. And so then the teachers had some vertical articulation. And if you looked at new pacing guides, actually on the website, we have all the pacing guides posted that they're using this year. Anytime you're looking at a pacing guide and see something highlighted in yellow, those are gap standards from a previous year that they normally might not be teaching in 8th grade, but they are teaching this year because we realized that students did not get the full content last year. So we made some internal changes. Does that answer your
Thank you.
question?
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions for Ms. Willis? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, do we have any audience participation? No? Okay, thank you. None. Okay. All right, we're going to move down to the consent agenda. Board members, you had an opportunity to review the consent agenda, and I did not see any changes that's needed, or no one contacted me regarding that. So if we could please give me a motion to approve item 4.01, the consent agenda.
Move. Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Tench, second by Mr. Kennedy. Please call the roll.
Mr. Tench,
Aye.
Mr. Kennedy,
Aye.
Mrs. Patterson,
Aye.
Mrs. Boynton, Mr. Stevens.
Aye. Motion passed, 5-0. Thank you. At this time, we have item 5.01, which is the superintendent recommendation as presented by the assistant superintendent, Dr. Johnson.
I'm sorry, I was just going to interject, Dr. Johnson, I'm sorry. Mr. Stevens, and I don't know, Mr. Parkinson had shared, I see some familiar faces in the audience relative to First National. They came,
Yes.
they wanted to see you here this evening, which I said, that's a first. I have not seen people come, so I appreciate you being here, but I'm going to turn over to Mr. Parkinson. I just wanted to interject. I'm sorry,
just-
people want to say thank you.
Yes, just very, very quickly, Mr. Stevens. Mr. Holmes and Mr. Brandon from First National Bank is here. They just wanted to really, really quickly introduce themselves. They're very happy to be a part of the school district and very much looking forward to working with us. So, up to you.
Board, do you mind?
No, that's fine, yeah.
Okay.
You have to come to the mic.
Come to the mic, sir, please. Thank you.
Not to take up any time of your business meeting today, we just want to take time to say hello, meet you all. You could at least put a face without a mask with us. We will be with you as partners, hopefully for many years to come. And we're just happy to be here and be a part of the great things that you're doing with the Bedford City School District.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Any questions you guys have for me? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Karen Polk-Akram. I'm the branch manager at the Bedford location for First National Bank. I just wanted to let you know how passionate I am about Bedford High School. I've been involved with the high schools ever since I moved into the area. And I just want you to know that I'm here because I care, and we all do. So I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm here. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to give me a call. Thanks.
Thank you.
So good evening, everyone. My name is Michael Brandon. I also represent First National Bank, our Treasury Management Division. Extremely excited in working with Mr. Parkinson and his team to transition the banking relationship. Been a resident of the school district for over 25 years. My son and my daughter have attended the schools from K through 12. And I personally like to thank the district because I have 2 college degrees sitting on my fireplace because of the foundation from the Bedford City School District. So thank you very much and looking forward to working with you all.
Thank you. Good job, Mr. Parkinson.
Thank you,
Good
Mr.
job.
Stevens.
Yeah, good job.
Mr. Stevens, it's so refreshing to have residents. I think Karen's son graduated from Bedford as well. And just to have local folks helping and want to get involved with the district, and it's very refreshing. So, thanks. Welcome aboard.
Yes, indeed.
Buy
Thank you.
green and white.
Okay, all right. We're going to just go ahead and have Dr. Johnson to go ahead and continue, please.
Good evening, Board President, Vice President, and board members. I bring to you only one item under 5.01, and that's asking of you to review the 2021-22 school calendar. We had not provided that to you yet. We were just with all the pandemic and everything else and all the changes. So this is just the time to review it. Per the law, we're required to post that for yourself and the community to review the calendar.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. Okay, board members, can I get a motion to approve the 5.01? Oh, no, I'm sorry, we don't have to. It says review. I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Johnson. Thank you. Okay, moving along. Sixth, superintendent recommendation as presented by the business manager, Mr. Zagrabi.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is actually a board issue. I received the papers from barristers. They're doing the title work, title search, and they're preparing the title documents for the sale of the Aurora property. They want to be assured that the person signing those documents is actually authorized by the board. So if the board considers and approves this evening the resolution, which is very brief, I will forward that to them tomorrow. And that will be to authorize Mr. Stevens as the person designated to sign all the papers, which he has in front of him right now this evening.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve the resolution granting authorization to the Board of Education President?
You really shouldn't be saying that. I should do it. I should do it.
Go ahead.
Because Mr. Stevens is on there, he should not be doing this, so I will do it for him.
Yeah.
I like to have a motion for the resolution for the purchase of Aurora School.
So move.
It's been properly moved in second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Tench,
Aye.
Mr. Kennedy.
Aye.
Mrs. Patterson,
Aye.
Mrs. Boynton,
Aye.
and Mr. Stevens.
Aye.
5-0. Thank you, board.
Thank you, Ms. Patterson, for reminding me of that. Thank you. Okay. We're going to go down to our superintendent's report. Dr. Selico?
Thank you, Mr. Stevens. Just a few items to get the general public up to speed, and those of you who are here this evening and the board. A few things that are happening. One, you received a message, I believe, from Mr. Bowders last night with parade information. So that will be next Wednesday at 6 o'clock. He did provide a route for you, but he informed me today that that route needs to be reworked after talking to the new route. We'll have that updated. You will get another call with that, and we'll also have it on social media and in a flyer for people to view on our website, etc. So we will get that out to everyone, but we do intend to have our buses are going to be decorated. We're going to have 6 buses, and each school will be responsible for decorating one. We'll have anyone who wants to participate can be in their cars like we did last time, and can decorate those as well. And we will have such a small number of students who have earned a privilege at the high school. We selected a select group, and we will also be distributing candy. So I'm sure if you weren't planning on attending, I know kids, you might have heard that we're going to throw out some candy, so that might entice you, but we will have that on hand as well. But I ask, and I will say to those who are listening and who plan to participate, that I really emphasize that we've got to maintain social distancing, and we've tried to make it a long enough route that you will have plenty of room to spread out. So if you see people congregating, please make a good choice in separating yourselves. And if there is candy being thrown, especially if you have little ones, that we know what happens when candy's thrown. right? We end up in a bunch. So we've got to make sure that that's not happening. If we want to have any future events like this, this will be our first start to see how we handle this. So please, children, students, if you're listening, please make sure that we are adhering to that. But we would love to see everyone. We are missing everyone so much, and just would be so nice to see the faces again. I just wanted to update briefly on our properties. We have Chanel that is still has some remaining parts there, Jerry. They're waiting to get those parts down. There's a couple still standing, but they're clearing out the site. So a couple more places that they have to hit, but that will be clear hopefully soon. And then, as you heard tonight, our Aurora property is in motion here, and looks like things are on track for a closing there. As it relates to just return to school, I will say to the board, I've been getting, more questions as time goes by some parents. Some parents, they've all been very, very nice and accommodating and understanding, and have offered me some suggestions on things to improve or things that they can help, that we can help perhaps them with, or just some suggestions. So what we learned, and I've said from day one, is that we were going to do our best with this model, and we would continue to assess and revise as needed. And so some of the beginning, how long it is for kids being online, no matter K through 12, the age doesn't matter. So we're going to look at some things to get creative and maybe mix up our schedule a little bit to give some more breaks or something that they can have less screen time, time to make up work. We're hearing that from parents a lot. They don't have time to do the work. They need time to make it up. I'm sure our teachers would appreciate some of that as well. They are working extremely hard. I popped into 12 classrooms today. It was nice to say hello to the kids as well. I've been walking the halls, as have my colleagues. They've all been in the schools and listening to teachers. And I hear instruction every time I'm walking through those halls. So I'm very pleased. I know they're doing the best that they can. But we will have to be talking about the return to school soon. We've been meeting about that. There are a number of schools, if you read the papers and you hear the news, a number of schools are returning earlier than what they anticipated. I'm not implying that that's us, but I provide, the facts, and we do have, I will provide more information with you tomorrow on some data that I've collected. But just wanted to let you know that that's coming, and I'll be presenting you with information as our committee continues to work, and Dr. Johnson and Mr. Zagrebek have been heading those committees. Lastly, I want to talk just a bit about social justice, and I think Mr. Stevens left out one point. I don't think you said it. I apologize. I was still getting organized as you were talking, but the shirts that we have on this evening were purchased by Mr. Stevens himself, so he didn't mention that, but because he felt strongly about this and he wanted to do something for all of us, cabinet and the board, and he forgot, Mr. Stevens, our crew here has theirs on too.
I did, you know what, I did, but I was going to remember to do that
Yeah.
before we leave.
Okay, so they've even joined us in our efforts, so we appreciate the thought there and the support relative to our campaign here. And so I do want to say to the public what you can anticipate coming on this. We met the other day. There were about 5 or 6 of us that are on the equity and diversity and equity leadership advisory team, and we've got a great plan, I think, in how we are going to redistribute the equity work. And we will have a graphic that will come out that will illustrate not only our social justice work, but also the new work of our advisory council team. So we have a lot of great things coming. We've got a good plan relative to equity and all the different parts that equity hits in our instruction, et cetera. So those documents will be coming very shortly. And Mr. Stevens, I would just point out that I do believe our graduate may have come in. Is that correct? Okay, so I'll turn it over to you if that's okay with you. Honor, you okay with that? Okay. Okay. Don't want to go out of order here. Mr. Stevens runs the meetings. So, is it L'Oreal? If you want to come forward, and Mr. Thompson, I know that you have conferences tonight, and you're still doing well on time here, but can you come forward, please, and present her with her diploma? And we're so glad you're here. Don't be nervous. We're very happy for you. We'll get a picture. You get as many glamour shots as you want. Whatever you want, the stage is yours. So if you don't mind coming to the microphone, you can say a few words. And if you'd like to introduce who's here with you this evening.
Can I just look at it? I'm sorry, guys. I just want to say thank you so much. This is going to change my life in so many different ways. not let alone for myself, but for my daughter and my family. And I just appreciate you guys doing this and giving us this opportunity to be able to have that growth, to, be able to develop other things that we don't know yet, to keep our brain advancing fundamental things. I just appreciate you guys so much. And thank you. I just appreciate it. Like, I'm really speechless right now. Like, this really has my name on it. Oh man, it's like one OGT. Seriously, like wow. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Congratulations. Very proud of you.
I am so excited. Thank you.
Mr. Thompson, would you mind reading the statement for her so we can have an official reading here and award and her parents or whoever? And ma'am, if you could tell who's here with you too? Who came with you?
My aunt, Auntie Blair, and my uncle Cameron, my mother, and my mother's fiance Jamil, and then there's Autumn, my daughter. Yes.
Board President Stevens, Superintendent Selico, students receiving a Bedford High School diploma tonight have completed the course of study prescribed by the Board of Education for Bedford High School, class as first grade and accredited, and is therefore awarded this diploma given from Bedford, Ohio, on this first day of October 2020. Now, class of 2020, L'Oreal Lanier Watts.
Thank you.
Congratulations, young lady. Congratulations.
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 Okay. So, will your family, parents, or and your daughter come up and take a picture all together? If we can get that for the family. James, someone has.
How come
Come right up to the mic area there.
How come we didn't get the Wolstein for tonight?
Yeah. Feel free to take off your mask because you're all staying together. I see you're all confused, but go ahead. We'll stay, just stay 6 feet from us. We're all good. Help yourselves. Felice, if you don't mind, get her information for like an email, and then we'll send some stuff. Please, if you don't mind. Bye, thank you. Bye, Mrs. Cole.
Bye-bye. Thanks for being here.
Okay, we're gonna move right along. Young lady, I tell you, you almost had me in tears over here. I'm telling you, I was holding back, but you almost got to me there a little bit. You almost had me. All right.
You don't understand. I was supposed to graduate class of 2012 when I came to Bedford. I started off like as an independent student, and it was just like the people that worked there at the school, the staffing, my support team that was behind me, they were really like rooting for me. As a young mother, having a kid, you still want to make sure you take care of your responsibilities.
Yeah.
And it's just like, this is what I worked hard for. This is what I deserve. I deserve this. I worked hard for this. I did what I was supposed to do.
That's right. That's right. And you know what? The main thing, you did not give up and you persevered. And that's what all matters. That's what matters. And congratulations to you. Thank you once again. Okay. Okay, at this time, to our audience and those who are watching us, we're going to go into executive session. Board, as you know, you were informed that we were going to go into executive session at this time. So I would like to entertain that, and I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session to consider the appointment, reappointment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee.
Second.
Okay, I made that motion and Ms. Patterson seconded. Can we please call the roll?
Mr. Stevens,
Aye.
Mrs. Patterson,
Aye.
Mr. Kennedy.
Aye.
Mrs. Boynton, Mr. Tench.
Aye.
Okay, we're going to go into executive session at 6:32. 6:32. And we will not be coming back out for any type of approval or anything of that nature. So thank you, and thank you for viewing us, and thank you for coming. Thank you.